So for those of you who are connecting remotely, remember that it's not necessarily essential today, but in the future, if you can get a camera angle where we could see your hands at the piano keyboard, we would get the most here, but I totally understand the logistics might be a little bit difficult here on the first day of some of you connecting remotely. So if you have a piano keyboard, yay, that looks fantastic there, Autumn. Thank you so much here. So yeah, if you can position it in such a way, then that will help us keep track, or at least Donna can also keep track of whether you're having any difficulties with us here, okay? So normally I'll start off the day with, and I probably should pick a better color for my fonts here, but this is what I ask you guys to do for today. So if you have your book, turn in your books to page 10. If you don't have your books, then you'll just have to look up here at the screen here for today, okay? So what I want you guys to do, and if you're here locally, you could go ahead and put yourselves on headphones. And I'll have myself playing out loud so that if you're not on headphones, you could still hear me. I ask you guys to look over these rhythm reading exercises just so that you get familiar with the quarter notes, the half notes, and so forth here. So for this one, it says tap the following rhythms with the indicated hands and finger numbers. I want to do it actually on the actual piano keyboard. So remember what we said about sitting straight and tall, feet flat on the floor, and making sure that your knees aren't too far deep underneath the piano so that you have a nice sitting position. What I want to do here is I want you to find, what is, okay. What note is that there?
Middle C.
Middle C, yes. Can you guys put finger number 1 on middle C? If your thumb's on middle C, where's your second finger on? D, third finger's on. E, fourth finger's on. F, fifth finger's on G. Can you guys play and say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Say it backwards. Ready, go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Great. So that's the hand position that I want you to do rhythm reading exercise number 1 on here. Okay. So the way that number exercise 1 goes is 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold. 5, 5, 4, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold. Okay. Why do we say hold after the half notes? Because they get 2 counts each there. Okay. So and actually hold it down for those 2 beats there. Okay. Let me give you a beat to go along with it here. 1, 2. For 1, 2. Play with me. 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold. 5, 5, 4, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold. Okay. Any questions with the right hand there? Let's go on to our left hand at this time here. Okay. So for your left hand, can you wiggle your which one's finger number 1 in your left hand? Is still the thumb, right? Okay, so put your left hand thumb, first finger, on C. Okay, so where's your second finger going to be on then? B. Where's your third finger going to be on? A. Where's your fourth finger going to be on? G. And your pinky, your fifth finger is on F. Right. So can you guys play and say the finger numbers like this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and say the numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Say it going up. Ready, go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Excellent. Fantastic. So let's look at exercise number 2 on the same page. And can we play and say 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold. 1. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold. 5. Hold. Let's try that together as a class. Let me give you a beat to go along with it here. Let's try this 80s pop thing. All right. If I can find it here. That's too fast here. Well, I guess you guys can hear it. So the way it sounds with the beat will be 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, hold, 1, hold, and so forth. Okay? Is everyone in the same place? place there. Yeah, 1, 2. I'm sorry. 1, 2, 1, 2. Say the fingers. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold. 1, hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold. 5, hold. Okay, so that's the left hand here. Okay, let's find a new hand position here. Okay, let's go back to our right hand. Can you go to your right hand and can you tell me what note is that? F, yes, so put your right hand thumb on F. So then if your thumb's on F, what's your second finger on? G, third finger's on? A, fourth finger's on? B, and your pinky is on? C. So can you guys play and say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and say the numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, say it backwards. Ready, go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's it there. All right, let's move on. Back to exercise number 3. I'll see exercise number 3. We have a 1, and then what? A rest. Yeah, what kind of rest? Quarter rest. Yes, so a quarter rest gets 1 count. So what I want you to do is establish the habit of saying rest as you do it there. So go 1, rest, 3, rest, 1, 3, 5, rest, 5, hold, 4, hold, 3, 2, 1, rest. Okay? And when I say rest, I don't mean to actually rest on the keys here. What I mean is that you want to make sure you let go the hand into its, let go of the key to its original position, like 1, rest, 3, rest, 1, 3, 5, rest, okay? So it's not like, you don't have to make a big production out of it. You don't have to go like 1, rest, 3, rest. You don't have to lift your hand up high in the air, but you do want to return the key so that you have silence for that whole beat there, okay? Let's try that again. Let me see what this one sounds like here. So I'll go 3, rest, 1, 3, 5, rest, 5, hold, 4, hold, 3, 2, 1, rest. Let's try exercise number 3. 1, a 2, 1, 2, say the fingers. 1, rest, 3, rest, 1, 3, 5, rest, 5, hold, 4, hold, 3, 2, 1, rest. Yeah, not too bad there. I didn't hear anyone overholding the notes, at least here locally, so I'm assuming we're in good shape there, okay? Let's move on to, let's skip number 4. Can we go to exercise number 5 towards the bottom of the page where it says right hand and left hand, hands together. Yay, it's been done before, trust me, okay? So let's try it like this here. Let me show you my hand position where I want you to be here. Let's go back to, whoops, excuse me. Let's go back to the C position in the right hand. You guys put your right hand thumb on middle C, and then put 2, 3, 4, and 5 on the white keys immediately after it. And then in your left hand, let me do a little juggling act with my webcam here. Can you put your 5th finger, your pinky, on the C below with finger number 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 here. That way, when you're doing them, position that. That way, both left hand and right hand are covering C, D, E, F, and G. Okay, yeah. You can probably see it even better on Autumn's video than you can see on mine here, although she's like upside down from that perspective, but that's okay. All right, so that's how we're going to be doing exercise, which one is it here? 5? Yes, okay. What do you notice that's easy about the right hand and the left hand in this particular case? They're both doing the exact same fingerings and the exact same rhythms. So then when you're doing it here, it should look like this here. Hold on a second. 1s, hold, hold, 2s, 3s, hold, hold, 4s, 5s, 4s, 3s, 2s, 1s. So even though they're doing the same rhythm and the same fingers, they're not necessarily playing the same notes at the same time, but they're mirroring each other as we're going along here. Does that make sense to everyone here? Let's try it first without a beat first here, and then we'll put it together here. I'll just get that going here. Okay? Got your 1s together? 1, 2, say the numbers. 1s, hold, hold. 2s, 3s, hold, hold. 4s, 5s, 4s, 3s, 2s, 1s. notice that after the first notes that I played, I said hold, hold, because what kind of notes are they? Dotted half notes, yes. So whenever you see a half note with a dot next to it there, they so ingeniously named it the dotted half note. It should get 3 counts traditionally in your standard common time meters here, which we haven't gotten into yet, but we will soon enough here. Let's try it, and we'll probably do a repeat of it as well here. So see if you can play along with me here. Let me give you a different beat to go along with here. Let's go. So the way it sounds with the beat will be like this. 1, hold, hold, 2, 3, hold, hold, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, hold, hold. Okay, yeah, so like that. 1, 2, 1, 2, say the numbers. 1, hold, 2, 3, hold, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and repeat again. 1, hold, 2, 3, hold, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, hold. Okay, how do we do that remotely? Able to stay with us here? Fantastic here, okay? Let's do one more here. Let's do number 6 here, okay? Let's stay in the same C position that we were in just a second ago. So again, if you guys missed it here, right hand C position, left hand same thing, 1 octave below here as well, okay? And for exercise number 6, instead of starting with the 1s, we're starting with finger number 3s. Can you guys play finger number 3s together? What notes are we playing? E's, yes. So then it should be 3s, hold, 4s, hold, 5s, 4s, 3s, hold, 3s, hold, 4s, hold, 3s, 2s, 1s, hold. Okay. Let's take a look at what that looks like here on, just to make sure that you're doing the same thing that I'm doing. 3s, hold, 4s, hold, 5s, 4s, 3s, hold, 3s, hold, 4s, hold, 3s, 2s, 1s. Okay, let's try that together as a class. Let me throw that up on the screen. Can you guys see that all the way from back there? It's okay. Okay, good. So let's give it a shot here. Ready? 1, and we'll probably repeat it 2 times there, even though there's no repeat sign. 1, 2, 1, 2. Say the numbers. 3s, hold, 4s, hold, 5s, 4s, 3s, hold, 3s, hold, 4s, hold, 3s, 2s, 1s. Again. 3s, hold, 4s, hold, 5s, 4s, 3s, hold, 3s, hold, 4s, hold, 3s, 2s, 1s, hold. Okay, so any questions with these exercises here? So if you haven't gone over the ones here on page 10, you're welcome to do so, just to get yourself oriented with the fingerings and how they feel on the white keys, okay? You guys could take yourselves headphones, those of you who are here locally, give your ears a break for just a moment. And those of you following along who have your books, turn in your books to page 19, page 19. If you don't have your books, I have them up here. Just to talk about the black keys here, whenever you see, I'm assuming most of you know about sharps and flats and natural signs here. The one thing that I love about piano is that it's very visual and kinesthetic, that you can really feel the sharps and flats, which maybe aren't as intuitive on other instruments, or definitely not necessarily in singing as well here. So what a sharp sign means is to play the note that is right next to it, whether it be a black or a white key here. Some students just think that, well, it's a black key if it's sharp. Well, not necessarily here. Like, for example, if I show you up here on the screen here, let me go into note mode here. Obviously, this is F, right? Okay, so then the next key to the right, whether it be black or white, is either F sharp or, if I can find the right hand arm. So no, there we go. Stupid smart program here, right? That's the one we want. We want the F sharp here. Okay, so, and then of course, wait, let me make sure I'm in the right. That's why it was doing the flat stuff here. Okay, then no, it's still doing flats here. Let me do that. Fix that. There's the G sharp, and they also call it B flat, but it can also be called A sharp as well. And here's B. Is there such a thing as a B sharp? Well, it would be just the same thing as regular C because there's no black key in between here, okay? But there is, and don't ask me why, but we have our own nerdy theoretical reasons for doing so. We do call it B sharp from time to time here, okay? It all depends on like the key that you're in, sometimes requires that B sharp, but it is the exact same key as C as well here, okay? And then on the flip side, as they say here on page 19, the flat sign before a note means to play the next key to the left, okay? And that being black or white here. So then B flat would obviously be that here as well, but you'll also notice that B flat is the exact same thing as A sharp. So every black key can be named two different ways as well. And then finally, the last thing is that you also have natural sign that you see here also cancels out a sharp or flat, because when a sharp or flat appears before a note, I'm hoping that you all realize that it applies to that note for the whole measure. So then if you ever want to play something other than a sharp or a flat, then you want to cancel it out here, okay? With that now in mind here, now I want to introduce you to this concept of half steps and whole steps, which is directly related to our first quiz of the semester here, all right? A half step, as they define here, is the distance from any key to the very next key above or below, whether it be black or white with no key in between. So for example, if I ask you guys what's a half step above F, you would say F sharp, okay? If I ask you what's a half step above F sharp, you would say G. And if I ask you what's a half step above G, you would say G sharp or A flat there. And if I ask you what's a half step above B, you would say C, because there's no black key in between. And not to get too scientific with all the frequencies and the ratio of pitch to pitch here, but the ratio of the pitch frequency from B to C is the same thing as F to F sharp as well there, okay? So there's actually only two places, almost everywhere a half step on the piano keyboard is between a black key and a white key, or a white key and a black key. The only places where there's a half step between two white keys is between B and C, and where else? E and F. Okay? So just be aware of where those half steps are on the piano keyboard. All right? And we actually, if you actually took a scale and created them all of half steps, anyone know what we would call that? Chromatic scale, such as, the prefix chroma, meaning color. So then it uses every color of the piano keyboard, the whole spectrum of all the pitches that we normally use in Western culture music. Usually has some kind of whimsical feel to it with the chromatic key, because you're not exactly sure what is the keynote in these chromatic scales here, okay? So if there's half steps, then there must be whole steps, and that's what we have here also. Whole step is equivalent to two half steps, yay math, okay? You skip one key in between. So for example, if I played middle C, what would be a whole step above C? D. What would be a whole step above D? E. What would be a whole step above E? F sharp, right. Why? Because E to F is a half step, and you have to skip over that in order to get to that F sharp, okay? And then what's a whole step above F sharp? G sharp. Yeah, you can have a whole step between black key to black key as well. Okay? And you can even make up a scale using up all whole steps. Okay? And where's my scale note here? So if I was doing that, I keep pushing the wrong button here. Come on. Anyone know what we call that scale? Whole tone scale. Yep, it's a whole tone scale. C whole tone scale, because I just happen to start on C in this particular case here, okay? And the whole tone scale is kind of neat because it has this kind of like whimsical property to it here. If I held down my pedal and started playing all these notes from the whole tone scale, it has this kind of dreamy effect here. Not probably because I've seen too many movies and TV shows, but I think of those times where like some character gets bonked on the head and then they go into this like dream sequence and go. So that's usually what I usually associate with. But oftentimes we credit Claude Debussy, French Impressionist composer, with kind of opening our ears up to this new whole tone scale that kind of expands our harmonic language here. So really neat scale to tinker around with here. So we all clear with that? Half steps, no keys in between. Whole step, one key in between, counting the black keys as well here. Okay. With that in mind here, the first quiz that you're going to be tested on are how to play major five-finger patterns. All right, major five-finger patterns. The good news is we were just doing some major five-finger patterns just a few minutes ago here. And the easiest one to remember is the C major five-finger pattern. So those of you who are local here can go ahead and put yourselves on headphones. And a C major five-finger pattern, let's play the C major five-finger pattern in the right hand. Can you guys put your right hand thumb on middle C and play C, D, E, F, G to say the notes. C, D, E, F, G, say it backwards. Ready, go. G, F, E, D, C. You can good, say it both forwards and backwards without repeating the top note like this. C, D, E, F, G, F, E, D, C. 2, ready, play. C, D, E, F, G, F, E, D, C. Now, let's do it also in the left hand. Can you do it in the left hand an octave lower here? For those of you who can't see here, oops, let me see. Let me show you here. What is this angle? So my right hand was doing C, D, E, F, G, F, E, D, C. I want you to do your left hand. C, D, E, F, G, F, E, D, C. Starting, of course, with your pinky, your fifth finger. 1, 2, left hand, go. C, D, E, F, G, F, E, D, C. Good. And I already see like Autumn doing hands together. Why don't we all do C major hands together at the same time here? Okay, oops, I'm on the wrong. Oops. What do I want here? I want chord mode here. That's what I want. Okay, so can we all play the hands together? The C's, the D's, the E's, the F's, the G's, F's, E's, D's, C's. We're not mirroring each other there, but we're actually playing the same keys one octave apart. 1, 2, say the notes. C's, D's, E's, F's, G's, F's, E's, D's, C's. Yeah, try to do that. And if you're not used to that coordination of playing the hands in what we call parallel motion, start getting used to that because that's what you're going to have to do for the C major five-finger pattern. Okay. Yeah, it's a great warm-up here and to get also used to that bridge of the hand that we're normally used to doing here. Okay. Now let's just analyze it for just a second here since everyone seems to have it here. Is it made up of all whole steps, all half steps, or a combination of both? Combination of both there. Between C and D is a whole step. Between D and E is a whole step. Between E and F is a half step. And then between F and G is a whole step there, okay? So this is going to become important because we're going to have to transpose this to any key that I ask you to start on here, okay? So if we were to assign, it just so coincidentally lines up with right-hand finger numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but that doesn't mean that's what the fingers are for your left hand. What I'm talking about are scale degree numbers here, okay? First scale degree number, second scale, third scale degree, fourth scale degree, fifth scale degree is what we have here, okay? And so what you need to simply memorize is that a major five-finger pattern consists of all whole steps except for a half step between numbers 3 and 4, okay? Just remember between 3 and 4. I don't know if you guys have gotten into solfege yet, into your oral skills. Some of you have some experience with solfege probably prior to coming here. But if you're thinking do, re, mi, fa, so, it would come between mi and fa. All right, just think of it that way here, okay? So that means that if you take a look at page 42, if you want to turn in your book to page 42, and if you happen to have a pencil handy, you can write in on this written exercise here on page 42 the five-finger pattern here, all right? They already wrote out C major for you, but let's talk about D major. If you happen to have a pencil, go ahead and write in D as your first note of the D major five-finger pattern. So what do we want next? Do we want a half step or do we want a whole step? We want a whole step because we're going from the first scale degree to the second scale degree. What's a whole step above D? E. I know, seems like a trick question there. D to E is a whole step there. Now I'm on the second scale degree to the third scale degree. What do I want next? Do I want a half step or a whole step? You want a whole step because we're not to that third scale degree to the fourth scale degree. So what's a whole step above E? F sharp, right. So you need to have an F sharp in order to play the D major 5-finger pattern correctly. Now I'm on the third scale degree. Now what do I want next? Half step or whole step? Half step. And a half step above F sharp is G. And then the last one I want is a half step or a whole step? Whole step, which is A. Yes, okay. And if I play that D major 5-finger pattern in the order of D, E, F sharp, G, A, can you all play that? D, E, F sharp, G, A in your right hand? Does it sound like C major to you there? It should, because it has the same order of half steps and whole steps that all the white keys had there. Try it in both hands. Can you guys do D, D's, F sharps, D's, A's, G's, F sharps, D's, D's? 1, 2, ready, go. D, E, F sharp, G, A, G, F sharp, D, D. Let me show my hands at the piano keyboard here momentarily here, especially for those of you who are chiming in remotely here. So when I do it here, let me pull up my right hand here. I don't play D, E, oh no, here comes F sharp, G, A. I try to position my hand in such a way that my third finger's already on the F sharp, so I don't even have to look down for it here, okay? So try to strategically place it. It's actually nice because your third finger is your longest finger here, both in the right hand and in the left hand as well. So make sure that you line it up like so here. So try to have that ready so that when you play it hands together, then it should look something like this. Okay, so can you guys play that one more time with me? 1, and here we go. Okay, good. All right, and I see Garrick miming in the air. That's okay. Whenever we get a chance there to get the keyboard there, that will probably get the most out of your experience here. But I'm glad that you're doing whatever it takes here in this crazy time here. What's that?
He was a little late.
Oh, that's okay.
I was like, oh, we haven't done one.
So let's see. Yeah. So why don't you guys take a moment here and on your own keyboards or in your air keyboards, you can try out E major, F major, G major, A major, D major. If you happen to have your book, feel free to write them in, but go ahead and try them out on your own keyboards for just a moment here, and we'll check up on your progress on that in about a minute here, okay? In fact, you could probably pause the recording while they practice that for a second. On pause here. All right, guys, so let's check out what you got for E major here. Let me switch to hand position mode. I got E, of course. My keyboard ain't showing up there. Everyone got E? All right. What's the next note going to be? F sharp. What's the next note going to be? G sharp. Next note? A. And last note? B. Yes. Okay. Does that make sense? Did everyone get the same thing that I did here? Does it sound like the other major 5-finger patterns? Okay. Yeah. It should. All right. Now try both hands here. See if you can do. Not that big a deal here today, but make sure that you go practice it so that you go slowly first, hands together, and then just gradually increase the speed. Get that coordination down slow first, and then once you start feeling comfortable with it, before you know it, then you're just flying like that there. Just like as easy as that there. Okay? So we got E major. Oh, F major. Let's talk about F major here. So let's see with F major here. What are our notes for the F major 5-finger pattern? I got F. What's your next note going to be? G. What's your next note going to be? A. Then what? B flat. B flat, yeah. Some students said A, oftentimes say A sharp, but kind of a general rule is when you're spelling out these scales is you want to go in alphabetical order whenever possible. So if you've already used A, then go to B, but it's not B because it's B flat there, okay? And then now what's our last note going to be?
C.
C. And do we have our order of whole steps and half steps? Sounds like it there. Go ahead and try it on your own there for a second. Yeah, if you didn't have that F in there, you hear how something sounds a little bit off there. Okay. What's that? I'm doing the whole scale. Overachievers here.
I know.
All right, next one's easy. How about G major? What about G major? G major, I got G. And the next note would be? A. Next note would be? B. Next note? C, yes, because there's no black key in between. That fulfills our half step right there. And then a whole step above the C is D. So G major just so happens to have all white keys like C major. And should be able to be played just like that here, okay? Just so happens to have that one place where there's a half step between two white keys where there's no black key in between. So that's why it lines up that way there, okay? And I'll let you guys figure out A major and B major on your own, although B major does have some kind of squirrely stuff going on as far as like the sharps that are involved with it. In fact, you know, it is kind of important that I do show that to you here. Can I show you B major? Let me show you B major here. So here's what I got for B major. I got B. What do you guys got for the second note? C sharp, yes, okay, I saw that, Daniel. I can read lips there. And then how about the third finger? D sharp. Fourth finger on E, natural. And then the fifth finger on F sharp. That one's kind of squirrely around here because it kind of zigzags in and out of the keys here. And, you know, if I put my hand naturally on the piano keyboard, oh, my little itty bitty pinky is so short I can't reach the F sharp there. But there's nothing saying that you can't slide your hand and wrist forward. So I play my thumb a little bit higher than I normally play. That way my fifth finger can reach just the edge of the black key. I don't even have to play all the way up high on the black key. I just need to play at the edge of the black key. And that's good enough for me. What's probably most awkward is probably this fourth finger playing on the E here. Okay, so make sure that you position your hand in such a way that your thumb plays maybe a slightly higher than you normally would here. Where it's most problematic is in your left hand. Have you guys tried it in your left hand? In your left hand, you have to play your fifth finger here, fourth finger here, third finger here, second finger here. Oh my gosh, my thumb can't do it. So I'm going to twist my hand and do this here. I'm going to get carpal tunnel syndrome one of these days here by twisting my hand this day. And no one wants that to happen. Okay, so don't give yourself carpal tunnel syndrome or tendonitis or anything like that, but slide your hand forward so that your thumb reaches the edge of the black key. And let me try to position this in a better way. Sorry about my bad camera work here. And then second finger maybe on the skinnier part of the white key. Right, so this is usually everyone's least favorite key to be playing these major five-finger patterns just because it feels so awkward, but you should be using the same fingerings that I'm doing here so that when you put it hands together, it should look like this here. Okay, so that's your B major five-finger pattern. Any questions about B major? Right, so make sure you practice that one a little bit extra here. Now let me get to the actual quiz itself here. Page 43, this is on page 43 on the very next page. This is the actual quiz that you're going to be tested on. You'll play the following exercises to use major five-finger patterns here. You're going to be quizzed on every major key, but I at least want you to get started this weekend on just the ones that start on a white key here. It's written in eighth notes here, and we've been kind of playing them as eighth notes here. In fact, let's just do one hand at a time here. Can we do the right hand? See how it does a C major pattern first up and down like this? Okay. And then the very next thing is a broken chord here. What do you guys notice about the notes? We haven't really gotten onto the staff reading, but I'm assuming some of you have some staff reading experience here. That when we go from the C to this note here, are we going stepwise or are we skipping around here? We're skipping here. So then when you go from the C to E, you should be using fingers 1, finger 3, finger 5, back to finger 3, and then back to finger 1. Okay? So general rule is for whenever you skip a note, you should skip a finger. All right? So try to keep with that there. If I ever give you the comment that you have very creative fingering, it's not a compliment. Okay? So make sure that you use the most uncreative fingering whenever you're approaching the piano. Whatever fits over that particular key, try to stick with that there for the time being here, okay? In fact, can we play that broken chord in the right hand here? Let me show my hand so that it makes a little bit more sense. Sorry. See you guys there. So we'll play the major 5-finger pattern first. The broken chord in quarter notes like this. See how I'm skipping the notes there? Let's do that much there. Right hand, 1, 2, right hand, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 5, 3, 1. Okay, and then the last thing that they want you to play is a block chord. You guys see the block chord? That's with C, E, and G all at the same time. Can you guys play and hold down the thumb on C? Hold that down and add E with your 3rd finger. Hold both those down, add G with your pinky. And then freeze your hand in that mold, and then pick up the whole hand, and then play all 3 at the same time there, okay? That's the thing, whenever you're playing 2 or more notes at the same time, you're never really just like playing individual fingers like this here. Like when we're doing the 5-finger patterns and even the broken chords, we were mostly playing from here. But when you're playing like 2 or more notes at the same time, you don't grip the keys here. That's one thing that I want you to do is you kind of firm up your hand and freeze it in that mold of what the C major chord is. And then I pick up the whole hand as a unit. And it's really my arm and wrist that are playing the chord. So you want to get used to that coordination because we're going to be playing a lot of chords this semester here. So get used to that in the right hand here, okay? So the whole right hand major 5-finger pattern should go like this. Then all 3 notes at the same time. Okay, so try that with me. Right hand, 1, 2, right hand, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 5, 3, 1, 1, 3, and 5. I haven't mastered the art of singing 3 notes at the same time yet. Here, but I'll try there. Might need one of those circular breathing type of things. So anyway, let's try the left hand this time here. Okay, so left hand is the same notes, but just different fingers. It's just backwards. 5, 4, 3, 2. All 3. Actually, before we do that, let's try putting the chord together. Can everyone play your thumb on G? Can you add your 3rd finger on E? And then add your pinky on C like so here, all right? And then freeze your hand in that mold, pick up your whole hand, and do that. Biggest challenge, of course, is making sure that the 2nd and the 4th fingers don't get in the way here, okay? And that's what you want to try to develop, that tactile sense, is playing the 1, 3, 5 at the same time. Let's try the whole left hand from the beginning. Ready? 1, 2, ready, go. C, D, E, F, G, F, E, D, C, E, G, E, C. Then all 3 notes at the same time. Okay? Everyone got the left hand? Now let's try it hands together here. All right? So hands together. You guys got your right hand and left hand in the right places here. Right? 1. We'll go a little slower. All right? 1 and 2 and ready, play. C, D, E, F, G, F, E, D, C's, E's, G's, E's, C's, and then all 6 notes at the same time. Yeah, feel the power of playing 6 notes at the same time there, right? get some satisfaction out of being able to do that there, okay? So work on that and try to get it to the point where you can play it. You don't get any extra credit for playing it fast. I'm more interested in evenness and clarity here. Yeah, we'll be with you in just a minute here. Are you in the 10 o'clock class?
Oh, yeah, I guess I'm on it.
We're still going. Such an eager student. I'm more interested in clarity and evenness than speed there, okay? But if you can get it moving like that, that would probably be a good tempo for me here. And then, of course, I want you to transpose it to all those other keys like D major. And E major. Okay. You can take yourselves off headphones for a moment here. So there's so many valuable things out of this one particular skill of being able to play these major 5-finger patterns. One is you learn like the first 5 notes of every major scale as you're going through it here. You're also learning every major triad in root position. And also you're developing this coordination between both the left hand and right hand, which is so crucial here in piano class. And also hopefully developing some technique as far as building the bridge and maneuvering amongst both white keys and black keys here. So what I want you guys to do for next time is to at least start practicing that in all the keys that we covered on the previous page, like the C, D, E, F, G, A, and B. But be aware that for the quiz, when it rolls around, I want to say, I can't remember what the exact date it was there, but you will have to do it starting on black keys as well here, like B flat major, F sharp, and so forth. So, but at least get started with these, and then if you're having difficulty with it, then let me know, and then we can take it from there here, okay? I want to just touch up a little bit on the grand staff here. This is on page, I'm sorry, we're jumping around. This is on page 22, for those of you who are following along in your book. I know this may sound arrogant, but pianists are superior beings in that we read both treble clef and bass clef. But I want to include you in that upper echelon of society through our piano classes here at SFA here. So in case you weren't aware of how to read the treble clef, bass clef, or maybe you have one more affinity from one to the other here, hopefully it makes whole sense now that we have the piano keyboard as a reference point to it here. Of course, middle C will fall in between the treble clef and the bass clef, but all these different arrows represent these landmark notes that I think that you should probably be as familiar with as much as possible here, okay? So it's not that you have to memorize these notes here. In fact, I'm really against that whole mnemonic devices of like every good boy does fine in face. I think it's actually more counterproductive than it really appears to be on the surface here. But what's more important is establishing the relationships between notes here. So the last thing that I want to go over with you today is on page 25 are some of these rhythm, not rhythm reading, but it's actual melody reading exercises here. So this is where some of you will need to put in some work outside of class here as well. Let's put ourselves on headphones one more time, if you guys don't mind. And let's take a look at example number 1 here, all right? They have all these counting stuff here, and you can follow these steps here, but let's just jump right into actually playing it. First of all, do we know what note that is here? G, yeah. We know it's G because it's in the treble clef, and also we call it the G clef because, you know, it kind of looks like a G, but it also tells us where G is because the little curl around the second line from the bottom is G, okay? Not just any G, but specifically the G above middle C here, okay? What finger do they want you to play it with? 1, okay? So then if my 1 is on G, my second finger should be on A, third finger on B, fourth finger on C, and fifth finger on D. Okay, we're all in a G major 5-finger position. Okay, that's another reason why we're going to practice these major 5-finger patterns here, okay? And the way that you want to read through this there is, I don't want you to read the letters themselves here, but just look at the way that the notes are moving on the staff. Are they moving, are there any skips going around, or is this mostly stepwise motion? Looks like mostly stepwise motion. So all you have to really think of is G, up, up, then what? Down, then up, and then up. There is what you really need to be thinking here. So that's ultimately what you want to be thinking when you're playing through this here. But if you want to think the letters too, you can think G, A, B, C, D. But sometimes trying to say the letters as you do it sometimes gets in the way of the rhythmic flow of the piece here. So let me play through the whole first line, and then you can play along with me afterwards here. G, A, B, C, D, hold, C, B, A, G. One, play along with me here. One, that's a little fast. One, 2, 1, 2, ready, go. I want you to do is approach all these different exercises on pages 25 and 26 with this same kind of mentality there. What's my starting note? Always ask yourself that. What's my starting note? And what finger do they want me to play with here, okay? It won't always be this easy in piano class where you know you're going to be in one set hand position, but here in the very first week of the first semester of class piano, I don't think I'm playing too much of a spoiler for you guys when I say that it's going to be that easy, at least for the opening. I mean, I shouldn't say that it's easy, but you won't have to jump around the keyboard so much there. Now, from going from exercise to exercise, you will have to jump around here. Like, for example, number 2, you'll have to find C with your first finger, and not just middle C, but on the treble C above middle C. So what I want you to do is to go over all these exercises, which we didn't have time to go over with today here on page 25, make that part of your regular practice routine. You can take yourselves off headphones now because I know we're running out of time and I want to give you guys time to get to your next class here. So let me skip over some of that stuff here. So your assignment for next class, the big one is looking over pages 43. We didn't get to 45 for the black keys on the major 5-finger patterns, but we'll get to that in our next class. But there's nothing stopping you guys from practicing those black keys because I think I gave you all the information that you need for that particular quiz. And then practice page 25, all the melody reading, examples 1 through 6. And then also reading on the grand staff. We didn't get to that there, but if you wanted to start taking a look at that, examples numbers 1, 2, and 3 on page 26 are good ones to kind of keep you on your toes as far as the right hand and left hand is concerned. Okay. Any questions from anyone here locally, remotely here? All right. Guys, stay safe here. Oh, you had a question?
For the quiz, or for us that are going to be online on Monday, are we just going to do that?
I have to double check because
Wednesday.
Let me just double check what our calendar says here. Is the quiz? Did I schedule the quiz for Monday?
I don't. You just said we're having a quiz. I didn't.
Oh, I'm sorry. I mean, just practicing for the quiz. I don't.
Oh. Okay.
I don't know if it is actually on Monday. I'm sorry if I was misleading in that. Where are we here? It's probably in September. So you know, it's here. It is September 2nd. So when I say quiz is coming up, it's practicing for the quiz on September 2nd. So everyone catch that. Quiz isn't next class. It's on September 2nd. Check your D2L calendar, and that will keep everything up to date there. Okay. Thanks, guys.